Hey, in this video we are going to see how we can use Microsoft Word to format your document. As a student, you have been faced with writing reports, and you observe that in writing this report there's always a structured format. Probably your project supervisor or the project coordinator will give you the format of presenting the report. Now, how can Microsoft Word help you to achieve that format that you have been given? This tutorial is going to help us to see how all of that can be done. Specifically, in this tutorial, we are going to see how we can format your heading and the body of the text. And why is it important that you're able to format the heading and the body of the text? Because it's going to assist you in generating your table of content automatically. You do not need to start typing out your table of content. No, you don't have to do that. Microsoft Word can automatically do that for you. But all of that can only be achieved if you are able to do your heading formatting very well. So in this video, we are going to learn about heading formatting, body formatting, section formatting, and then generating your table of content automatically. So let's get started. So we'll get started by first of all generating some random tests. Alright, so that's the random text that we have generated. So we are going to see how we can format this text now into a project report. So let's assume you have this text. You want to format it. Of course, you are going to have your header. We have introduction, chapter 1, the introduction. All right, and this is going to be heading 1. So how do we do that? You go to the styles group under the home tab. Now in the style group you are seeing heading 1, so we'll just select heading 1. You observe that the font has changed, but maybe this is not what we want. We want it to be Times New Roman, font size 12, and we also want it to be centralized, center aligned. So how do we do that? So just go into the heading 1, modify, and then here you can see you can do a lot of things. For instance, we can change font color to black. We can make it bold. We can also change the font size 12, and we can also change it from Calibri light to Times New Roman. Alright, so we have done a whole lot of things here. And what else? Now let's go into the format. Let's look at the paragraph tab. We want it to have space 12 point before and say 12 point after. Alright, okay. Then let's also create a shortcut key for it. Let's call that Control 1. Alright, so we have that, and what else do we need to do? Okay, I think we are pretty good with that for now. We're good with that for now, so let us see what happens. Okay, so we need to, okay, we still need to center align. We need to center align. I think that's the paragraph alignment centered. Right, so we are good with that. Then the next thing is the page numbering. Now we'll go to numbering and we'll use heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3 style. Right, so we have introduction. Now let's assume we want to have heading 2. This chapter 1 introduction, heading 2. Let's call that background. of study. Let's call that heading 2. You observe that the numbering has changed from 1 to 1.1, but this may not be the style that you wanted. So what do? We go again to the styles group in edit 2, we right click and modify. So we can change the font color to black. We can also make it bold, and the font size to 12, and the star Times New Roman. Right, we also want it left aligned. Right, let's also create a shortcut key for it. Let's call that Ctrl 2. Close that, and let's look at the paragraph format. Should be spacing before should be 6 font, spacing after 6 font, alignment should be left. We do not want to indent it. Alright, I think we are good to go. Alright, click OK, and that's it. Background of study. Now let's look at another heading, statement of problem. I'll just apply heading 2 to it, and you see that the formatting will change. And that is it. Let's look at another heading now. Aim, objectives. The same heading 2, and we'll look at scope. Heading 2. And then we have application of projects. Heading 2, and outline of remaining chapter. Heading 2. Alright, so for instance, I have chapter 1, introduction, background of study, statement of problem, aim and objective, scope, application of project, outline of remaining chapter. So let's assume this is the end of chapter 1. So what do we do now? To move to chapter 2, we are going to insert page break. Now, how do we insert a page break? We'll go to our layout tab, and you see break page, and it moves it to the next page. And then let's call this chapter 2, literature review. Literature review. Alright, we'll go back to our own tab, to the styles group, and call that heading 1. And you see it gives you chapter 2 already. Now let's assume you are working on detecting RPG leakage in the home. And then you can now say something like history of gas detectors. Alright, history of gas detectors. That will be heading 2. Alright, and then we can move on to say review of scholarly works on gas detection. Same heading 2, and we'll move further. Review of principles behind this work? Go to heading 2. Say for instance resistors. We need to talk about resistors. This time we are going to make this heading 3. Now heading 3, you can see the numbering has also changed, but we have not formatted it. So what do? We repeat what we have done before. We go to heading 3, modify, we change the color, we can make it bold. The font size is 12, and the font style is Times New Roman. Alright, we can also introduce a shortcut key, Ctrl 3, for example, sign and close. Okay, we can also do the paragraph indenting from the left, and then spacing. Let's also use 6 before, 6 after. Okay, and that's it. Resistors, resistor color coding, for example, resistor color coding, heading 4, modify, change the font color to black, make it bold, remove the italics, make it 12 Times New Roman. I'll give this one another shortcut key, Ctrl 4, sign and close. And then we also want to indent it 10 points from the left, 1 inches. Spacing before 6 points, spacing after 6 points. Okay, and that's it. Let's say we have another heading, say cut, sit-up, and that will be heading 2, heading 3. Good. So you observe here in chapter 2 we have the heading 1 style, the heading 2 style, heading 3, and the heading 4 style. Right, let's assume we are done with chapter 2. Now we want to move on to chapter 3. Again, what do? We insert a page break. So how do we insert a page break? We go back to what we did before. We go to the layout tab, breaks, page break. That takes us to chapter 3. And chapter 3 says methodology and design. For example, so go back to our home tab, apply our heading style, heading 1, chapter 3, and let's say we have methodology. Remember, these are just fictitious headings. They are not the heading that you are likely going to use, but they are fictitious methodology, just to illustrate how to do heading formatting that will enable us to auto-generate our table of contents. So we have methodology, we apply heading style 2, and then we have design, heading style 2, and say working principle, heading style 2. Alright, let's assume we are done with chapter 3, and then insert space break, layout, breaks, page. What do I have here now? Chapter 4, say implementation, tests, and results. Of course, this is the beginning of a new chapter, so we are going to apply the head 1 style. This is chapter 4, and then we introduce implementation, heading 2 style, tests, heading 2 style, results, heading 2 style. So let's assume we are done with chapter 4. So the next thing we're going to do is to insert a page break. Page. Chapter 5. Conclusion and recommendation. Back to our home tab. Under the style group, heading 1. Now we have conclusion, we are heading 2 style, then recommendations, heading 2 style. Now let me show you something that is also quite interesting. The navigation pane. You click the find, you see navigation and headings. You see that it has pretty arranged the headings for you, and you can just jump to any part of the reports that you want to get to easily. For instance, if you want to go to the background of study, you just click on this, it takes you to the background of study. Maybe you are coming to implementation, test and result, you just click it, it takes you there. It just arranges it for you. We need to do the body formatting. I've just shown you how to do heading formatting. The next thing I want to look at now is the body formatting. So how do we format the body of the tests? So let's just take this paragraph for example, to format the body of the tests. Copy that paragraph and it's normal. Modify. What's the font size? 12 times New Roman. And then we also want it justified. Alright, justified. Now we'll go to the paragraph setting. The line spacing should be double. If for example that is what you're giving, double. Then the space before, let's make it 6, space after 6. Okay. Voila. What happened? You see that it has automatically formatted all the body of your report. Automatically. Everything is well arranged. Now let's quickly scan through this report to see how it has arranged it for you. You see your introduction, well arranged. That's chapter 1. And you see chapter 2 starts from a different page entirely. Why? Because we inserted the page break. So even if we are typing some other tests in chapter 1 and it's going to spill off into this page, you should just move chapter 2 to a different page. Chapter 1 and chapter 2 will never meet on the same page. Why? Because page break was inserted. So you can see how arranged, how your work is looking neat. Now let us insert a table of content. So how do we insert a table of content? To insert a table of content, we are going to do what we call section break. Now, why do we insert session break? Session break is needed because you may have to apply different formatting style from what you have on the different sections of the documents, or maybe different page numbering. So first of all, do section break. So let's insert session break. Again, anytime you want to do breaks, you go to the layout tab, breaks, under the page setup group, you see breaks, and then next section break, next page. So let's insert our table of contents. To insert the table of contents, we'll go to reference tab, and you see table of contents. You click on it, it will give you a drop down menu of contents, and then table of contents. You click on it, just auto generates the table of contents. And that was it, table of contents. So we have a table of contents already. Now, you can still format this table of content. What if you want to do some editing? For instance, if there are no tab leader, your project coordinator tells your project coordinator says remove the tab leader. What do? Just go to your table of contents, custom table of contents. You see your tab leader. None. Okay. Replace table of contents. Yes. No tab leader. It is gone. So alright, so that was it. In this video we have been able to do heading formatting. So you've seen how you can use the style group in the home tab to do heading formatting, and we've also seen how to do body formatting, also using the style group in the home tab to do the body formatting. We saw that doing that, both the heading formatting and the body formatting, makes your work pretty nice and can also assist you in auto-generating your table of content. And before generating your table of content, you also need to do section formatting. You apply breaks. We saw how to do two different types of breaks. Page breaks, so when you move from one chapter to another chapter, it's important that you insert page break. And also, if you are going to have different sections of your report, like the preliminary pages and the main body, it's important that you separate these using section breaks. All of these were demonstrated in this tutorial, and finally we were able to auto-generate our table of content without having to type our table of content ourselves. Right? Arranges it, showing every single piece in the report and the page numbering. Now the beauty about this is that if you edit any page, you can just update the table. You see, update table, update entire table. So if there are any changes in the body of the report, and once you update the table, it will just be implemented in the table of contents. So that's it with formatting your report. So please, if you like this video, please share, comment, and subscribe to this channel so that we can continue to produce engaging content like this. If there's any part you want us to concentrate on how to use Microsoft Word to enhance your report, please state that in the comment section. We'll be glad to produce video content that will address such issues.